Here we are. We're at Gloria and Robert's party. And this is what they looked like probably when they first met each other. You think, Dan? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looks like it.
This is the event.
They haven't changed that much.
No, and this is, you get to do all these fun things. 22 things we love about her. And we sing a few songs. Love Me Tender.
An Elvis song.
An Elvis song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Our group. This is our group.
That's it. This is the gang here.
Yeah. Nice backlighting.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to dear them. Oh, Gwen, Gloria, and Robert.
This will be something of a duet. And in 1986, I was Santa Cruz County editor for something called the Business to Business Network newspaper. And they were planning, they wanted to have an article, a feature on the business of love for, for the Valentine's Day. And I had lunch with a man named Allan Gleischer, who had a company called Compatibility Plus. And he wanted to meet, and we did meet at the Capitola Book Cafe, on good neutral ground for a first date. And I interviewed him there, and what he said, among other things, that busy, successful people don't have time to date. Where are they going to meet other people on their same level? So for $495, he would personally screen a client and their prospective mates in order to save everybody time. And then in my little article, I had a little heading that says, "Going the Extra Mile for Love." So then I began researching love. And in Japan, there's a man named Genkichi Ichizaka, and he's the most successful matchmaker in all of Japan. And he was asked, what is the secret of being a successful matchmaker? What do you look for in a couple? And he says he looks for similarity of background, difference in temperament, so the sexual energies go bang and keep on going bang. So he liked the feature that I did, and as a result, he gave me a complimentary membership in Compatibility Plus.
Go, Allan.
A freebie, yeah, a freebie. So I got this printout, a computer printout, not long, with the names of 3 possible upwardly mobile, desirable women that he had screened. And
she was already there.
Yeah. And my heart wasn't in it. I mean, I talked to 1 or 2 of the women and on the phone. I never met any of them. I wasn't ready to do that. I've been married 4 times. You all know that. So I was just being really, really cautious. Practice.
For once.
For once. And it was kind of interesting because this was at the very start of internet dating, the very beginning. This was 1986. I mean, not many people were doing this, and this guy did something more because he would personally speak with the respective parties. So then in June, he gave me a phone call, and he said he had found someone new, someone special he wanted me to meet. He described her as a beautiful, warm-hearted, emotionally stable, talented woman, recently separated from her husband. She too was from Chicago. And I thought, well, opposites in temperament, similarity in background. Of course, we were also both Jewish. And then I said, well, if she's been separated from him for less than a year, no go. I don't want to do this because I didn't want to be with somebody who was on the rebound. And he assured me that Gloria was past that period, that terrible, you've all been, you've all either done it, been with people in the rebound, or you've been a person in the rebound, and I've done it many times, and I don't want to. So I decided I wanted to meet Gloria. And
I'll take over from
okay.
there. It's briefer.
As you did at the time.
The story many times. He appeared at my door looking like a Saturday Evening Post cover, carrying a bouquet of flowers and a poetry book. I'm saying he had a big innocent smile and was all dressed up, had rosy cheeks and a bald spot surrounded with dark curly hair like a monk. And that very first night you told me you had been married 4 times. Okay.
A good way to start a relationship. So I handed Gloria a copy of one of my poetry books, which was titled Half a Life's History. And she handed me a copy of Monterey Life magazine, which had a profile of her and her artwork. And this was by Donna Moreau,
who's sitting right there.
Yeah. So thanks to Donna.
Thanks to Donna.
We would not be, I don't think we'd be together without Donna's help. So we sat in the kitchen right there, reading about one another. So I guess you could say we vetted one another. I mean, what was happening. So Gloria said, if an accepted belief doesn't make sense to her, you know, this is Donna's article, Gloria will ignore it. She was also quoted as saying, why not take up new challenges in midlife or even old age? Who determines that youth is the only worthwhile life stage? I thought, all right, this is. And then she went on, she said Gloria had majored in social science at Berkeley, had taken a few art classes. I mean, this is all, you know,
From Donna's article.
From Donna's article, and later decided to cut her own path as a sculptor. And some of the work Gloria did in that period is actually in that octagon on the right, that you know, the big living room, and make use of new techniques and materials: vacuum formed plastic, screen printing, computer graphics, and printed circuit boards. She's now in demand by museums and galleries across the country, said Monterey Life.
That was a long time ago. Very briefly, I knew that night, I had no doubt at all that something very special had happened.
So why would you, I said in the kitchen, why would you be interested? I didn't want to mess around. I just wanted to get all the cards on the table. I was in my 50s. Why would you want to be with somebody, you know, 4 times? I mean,
A loser.
4 times. And I had a pardon me?
Why would you be interested in a man who's been married for 4 times? And I answered 4 times. And I said, you make a convincing case you've learned something from your marriages. You know what mistakes you made, and you made them all. You're a man? You're a man who's had some of his rough edges smoothed, yet you seem not so much worn down with 4 marriages. I really did say this. It's absolutely true. As shined up. So in my eyes, you're more valuable. You know the way some certain antiques have a patina on them? So Robert's going to read it. Oh. By the way, there's a copy of A Much Married Man that we'd like you all to take in my studio.
Unsold copies.
Which is a novel, sort of.
So appropriately titled is this book, 4 Incarnations, and the little introduction to this book is actually largely what was published in some publication up at UCSC, and That was the article that I gave Gloria to read in the kitchen by way of introduction. I'm not going to read that now. But the very last item in the book is this poem, some of you I'm sure know, For Gloria on Her Birthday, or Looking for Love in Merriam-Webster.
It says 60th birthday.
Well, I'm
Okay.
60th. We're carrying this over for a new occasion. And sometimes when I'm needing a little inspiration, a little spark, a little start, I've always done this, going back to the 50s. I like looking words up in the dictionary. I look at the names of creatures or encyclopedias. So this starts with looking up a word in the dictionary. So it's called Gloria on her birthday, looking for love in Merriam-Webster. Beautiful. Where are you? Beautiful, splendid, magnificent, delightful, charming, appealing, says the dictionary. And that's how I start. But I hear her say, make it less glorious and more Gloria. Imperious, composed, skeptical, serene, lustrous, irreverent. She's marked by glory. She attracts glory. Glory, I say, glory, glory. Is there a hallelujah in there, she asked. When I read her lines 1 and 2, not yet, I say, looking up from my books. She protests, writing the poem isn't the same as really attending to me. But it's for your birthday, I say. Pouting, playfully cross, that's the price you pay when your love's a poet. She has chestnut-colored hair, old-fashioned Clarabout lips, moist brown eyes, arms outstretched, head thrown back. She glides toward me and into her 7th decade. Her name means to adore, to rejoice, to be jubilant, to magnify and honor as in worship, to give or ascribe glory. My love, oh Gloria, I do.
So, once again, this is the list of 22 things that we love about Gloria and Robert. We love that they're so cute together. We love that they restore faith in romantic love. We love how they prove that chocolate and flowers on a first date can win the heart of a woman or man. We love how young at heart they are. We love how when we visit, they spoil us with delicious meals, interesting conversation, and nights on comfortable couches. We love how they support and encourage each other in their creative lives as poet and artist. We love how they give each other loving hugs at random times during the day. We love that they take pleasure, even if it is a lot of work, in creating a beautiful environment both in their home and the garden. All of us kids love how they listen intently to each other when they ask the other for feedback on their art, including the avid follow-up questions. We love how they sometimes forget others are in the room while they lose themselves in nonverbal communication with each other. One of the kids just loves how, Dad, I think this was Barbara, erupts into belly laughs when Gloria utters one of her famously frank and insightful observations.
No example.
We love how they naturally give each other space and breathing room while looking forward to the time they spend together. We love how they create a peaceful and inviting space. And one of the kids says that I always just completely relax when I come to visit, often sleeping late and taking long naps. Also, one of us said, it's naughty to say this, but you know, I love to hear that their sex just keeps getting better and better. Something to look forward to, yeah. I love that, we all love that they say what's on their mind to each other, but still love each other. We love the fact that they give each other lots of little loving touches throughout the day. We love the fact that they're both our parents and our friends. we like the fact that even though they don't know it, they really amuse us in all their funny little couple ways. We love the fact that they have created a wonderful extended family. Even though all of us kids don't see each other that often, I think we all feel warmly toward each other. It's wonderful for all of us to be together. It doesn't happen that often. I hope it happens more in the future.
Lose your place?
Yeah, I was invited. So they gave us great brothers and sisters.
They're right here.
Yeah. It's such a long list. Yeah.
Right here.
And we love the fact, this is one of the most important ones, is they obviously have such great genes because they produced us. And we're so beautiful. And I think that's it.
True. I think that's true.
So good. Yeah.
To say whatever they want to say. I just want to say something a little thing I wrote up for Mom on her 80th birthday.
Okay.
She'll be happy to know that Mom is a really young 80.
So
Mom,
you can look forward to
that's
living
right.
a long life.
Mom looks young. She loves being told she looks young. And she loves being young. And it's not just vanity, although it is that Mom really is young. It shows in her enthusiasm for books, movies, food, people, and art. And of course her relationship to Robert is still young. They're still so affectionate and delighted in each other. One of the things that keeps her young is her art. Mom looks forward to going into her studio each day, playing with color and form, and getting lost for hours in that creative space. Mom is engaged every day, and it shows. Mom is an appreciator, and I think all three of us got that from her. Mom still oohs and ahs about the view from her kitchen. It's about the taste of coffee. I've heard this for 50 years. Ooh, that's a good cup of coffee. About her car. I love my car. It's the best car I've ever had. Of course, she says that about every car she's ever had. Mom loves what she has. That's the quality that makes for happiness. But one of Mom's best qualities, which is a quality of wisdom and ties into that ability to appreciate, is her ability not to take things for granted. Mom feels like she has lived and is living in a garden, but she knows that she is lucky and privileged to do so. So here's to our engaged, youthful, and wise mother.
Happy birthday!
We love you.
But I just wanted to add first that, yes, the coffee thing. No one ever comments my coffee except for Gloria, and so that's so true, Jonathan. Oh, I'm Hannah, Robert's daughter, and then Gloria's daughter too.
Right.
My fifth mother. But also the one that's been there longest for me. So thank you, Gloria. But I did want to add something to the story because I didn't see complete truth in it. And one of the things that Gloria has taught me over the 22 years that I've known her is that she wanted me to speak up and tell the truth. And through about maybe 6 years of therapy and coaching on her part and many other people's part, I was able to come to that. And now she doesn't like that quality in me, but yeah, that's not entirely true. But sometimes she's like, well, why do you have to say that? I'm like, well, you told me that that's something. But I did want to take some credit for their meeting, and also blame for any of you who saw. But was that I actually was really, I took a lot of credit for bringing them together, because my dad really didn't want to go out on that date, and I really wanted to see him with someone. And once I read the description of Gloria and her kids, and I really encouraged my dad, even though I had encouraged him before that was enough with the women. And it was the first time that we had been living, just myself and my dad and my brother. And it meant a lot to me, just that it was just the three of us and no woman interrupting, because usually the women didn't like us. We were a distraction. But then I saw him and he was alone, and I did not like seeing my dad like that. He was just not the dad that I was used to seeing. And as much as I and my brother enjoyed having him to ourselves, we really wanted to see him in love again. And I remember that first night that he went out with Gloria, and he left, and he looked so, I don't know, just like a perfect dad to me, just going off. And I'm like, well, bring the chocolate and the flowers. I think it's a good idea, Dad. And I don't know about the poetry book, but he brought it. And he went, and he looked, you know, I mean, in all honesty, he looked a little sad when he left. But when he came home, my brother and I saw this transformation. And from that day, I'll never regret them meeting, because he was a changed man. I remember we lived in a very modest little place with a, I don't know, like a stucco sparkly ceiling and green shag carpet. And he came home and he sat under the desk in our living room, bedroom, kitchen area. And he would talk to Gloria under that little desk, and just like, that image of him under the desk talking to Gloria was so beautiful. So yeah, I just want to thank both of you guys for taking that leap, and also to Gloria's children, who right from the start, I just love them, even though I don't see, as you guys know, very often, but I feel very grateful for having the siblings in my life, because it would be very easy not to like those step siblings, but I don't feel that way at all, as you know. But also, thank you all for being here. It's just a real special day, so thank you.
Robert, way back in the 60s when he was teaching at Cornell and I was an undergraduate there, and my initial response to him, my initial impression of him was that Robert Lowell had somehow morphed into another dimension and was teaching at Cornell. There was something very odd. And I remember looking into those enormous eyes and seeing all kinds of stuff, but I wasn't exactly sure. He's one of the few people at Cornell who had some sense of modern contemporary poetry. And he said nice things about some of my poems, but not just nice things, but things that showed that he understood what I was trying to do. You can discount anybody who says anything about your poems if they have no idea of what you were trying to do. If they have some idea of what you were trying to do, then listen to them. But here are two poems. The first is for Gloria, and the second is for Robert. The artist skips over 80 and achieves eternity. Gloria,
The sleeping princess awake,
Gloria,
whose wit,
astonishes,
whose art,
astonishes,
whose mind,
astonishes, the beautiful princess tells us of the world,
whose Byzantine
is a reign of rivers, whose is
as old as wonder. Approximately 2,400 electronic circuit boards tied together with copper wire, enclosing a woman's form modeled after the jade burial suit of the Chinese princess Tao Wan, Han Dynasty, 140 BC. Shouted!
Que bella, bella!
Whispered!
Gloriosa!
And for Roberto.
So you're 75 and you wonder,
am I really so long alive?
Thunder!
Have I done so much?
Is it all done?
And then a breeze or a blaze of the morning sun.
And you're 71.
Or 12.
Or 6.
Time is only our bodies, and even they rebel and tell.
La vida es sueño.
Life is a dream.
The poet is for an age and ageless.
Whisper.
Just a tiny crack.
Or is it a line of poetry?
Separates this world from the next.
Father.
Son, you're 75.
and a wonder.
So special.
Second daughter from his second marriage. Actually, Hana's his third daughter from his third marriage. And Nicholas is 80-year-old, old as wonder relationship and a couple of birthdays that they have. I wanted to start by reading a poem from Dad's book, God is in the Cracks, which is absolutely brilliant. If you haven't had a chance to read it yet, you're really in for a treat. And if you have read it once or twice, then it's probably just starting to sink in how brilliant it really is. Lesson 3. The invisible is more existent than all the visible things, Talmud says. Still, when you leave your body, there's not much to stand on, and there's a crack in the cosmic egg. Truth is, this world is just one side of the nothing that's on the other side. And when I was a little kid, I began to get, because of an experience with Dad, I began to get the feeling sense of that poem that I'm now reading in my late 40s. And to me it expresses this old as wonder kind of feeling, or this youth that they still have. Both the line does, and their relationship, and the story that I'm going to tell you in a second. And the truth is, the world is just a little side of the nothing of non-existence. They're trying to find the dark matter. I mean, in physical truth, 90% of the universe, the mass in the universe, is completely unaccounted for. They can't find it. They even call it dark matter because there's no word for it. And like that, all of life is this huge, huge cauldron of something that we don't quite see, but we can sense. And then this little sliver is what shows up in life. And it seems to me, especially looking at a successful 22-year relationship that's full of appreciation and full of wonder and full of life and youth, that connection to that invisible, that unknown, that rest of everything else that we can't quite even measure yet or sense or describe, is that connection with it is the source of that very wonder and the appreciation and youthfulness that Gloria and Dad in the relationship expresses. So the story, which I got really kind of irritated when Dad asked me if I would tell it, but then I realized that the irritation had to do with the fact that it is really a seminal story in my life, and it's a real seminal expression of who my dad is. And the story is that when I was around 5 or 6 years old, Dad, in his infinitely curious way, had gone to see a talk by Ram Dass. And he came home, and he was avidly fascinated by something Ram Dass had said about becoming silent and stopping thought, about going into this silence, kind of the space that holds everything. And I could tell, because I was young and we were pretty close, I could tell that he thought, well, since I was only 6 and I'd only recently begun to use words, it must be that I'd only recently learned how to think. And if I'd only recently learned how to think, then perhaps I could remember what it was like not to think. And he was quite fixated on this idea. Because he really wanted to know, like, was it possible not to think, and what would it be like? So we sat together on this couch, and I remember Joan Baez was playing in the background. And it was kind of one of those old 60s ratty, you know, kind of smelly couches, and it looked out over this this nature view. And we sat on the couch and we closed our eyes and we tried not to think. And even at 6, I could see that the harder you try not to think, the more you think about the process of not thinking. And so it didn't work very well, but it was my first introduction and experience of the push-pull of what meditation is. And because of that curiosity that it engendered, to wonder what it would be like not to think, to wonder what was beyond thought, wonder where thought came from and where it went when it finished, it gave me this feeling sense for this part of the world that's visible and hiding almost, or becoming this little sliver of all that's invisible. And so that relationship with that, there's not really any word to describe it. It's enriching my life in a way that I can't describe. And the childlike wonder that Dad had, this avid, I'm only 6, but that doesn't mean I'm not wise. It means maybe I have some wisdom that I could impart. He brings that to everything still. And I see it in Gloria's wonder at the deliciousness of the cup of coffee, or her deliciously frank utterances, because she's like childlike curiosity. Well, well, what was it like growing up like that? She'll say, she'll always say the one thing that nobody really is, nobody else is brave enough to ask. And I guess where they're different in temperament is Gloria, that's one way that they are, that Gloria is so frank and so straight and so trustworthy. You always know what she's thinking. And Dad is different in temperament in that he has the same childlike and sweet, old wonder approach to life. And they still have that for each other. I see it in the way they look at each other and all the 22 things that Heidi read. It's just, it's very present. And it's a beautiful ongoing celebration of youthful wonder and that invisible everything that surrounds all of it. So thank you for coming.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I met Myra when she was 18 years old.
No, I was 19. It's really important to have someone in your life on a continuing basis who knew you when you were really young. Because when they look at you, they see who you are now, but they also see who you were then. And it makes you young again every time they look at you. I met you only briefly. I was an undergraduate dating a graduate student in sociology at Berkeley, and Gloria was there as a wife of a graduate student at Berkeley, also in sociology. But in the early 70s, Gloria came to New York, and my daughter was, I think, not quite 2 yet, and I was feeling the burdens of motherhood with the joys, but the burdens nevertheless. And we had a year of going to galleries and going to the museum. And my daughter stayed with the babysitting cooperative, and I had a life. It was exciting to have a life after you're a mother. And I was fortunate enough to be with her when she was looking for a new art form, and we found a copier that would do things in color, and that was a whole stream of artwork that came out of her. And then I was there at one gallery which we really liked a lot, and then I found out that she was showing at that gallery in New York. And then, not continuously, but later on, at one point when Gloria was single and feeling low, she came with my weaving group to Asilomar Conference Grounds, and we all were together and supportive of each other there. And then she met Robert, and she really was happy. And that was really wonderful to see, that could happen and did happen for her. And I congratulate you both.
Friend. I'm an old friend. I thought I might be the oldest friend, but actually, just yet. But early 70s. Congratulations. Early 70s. And I was in graduate school here at UCSC, and a dear friend said, there's somebody you have to meet. I think you're going to really like. And that was the beginning. And I think that, Gloria, you take the cake for being a friend.
Would you say who you are, Colleen?
Oh, I'm Colleen Kibert. Colleen Kibert. And she knows something about friendship. She knows something about being a friend. And all these many years, there's a kind of friendship that Gloria holds, I think, in her being that is very precious to me, and I know to all of the rest of you. I think you know what I'm talking about. I know that she'll be honest with me, and I know that she'll love me. And it's wonderful to hear you kids talking this way about both of them. What we know about Gloria and Robert, and hearing the rest of you talk about what you know about Gloria and Robert is very, very precious. When Gloria told me about Robert, I felt very, very protective of my friend Gloria. And I was very, very suspicious about what was, well, when do I meet him? And I'm not so sure. But you know what the clincher was for me? Those Clarabout lips. I knew then that Robert knew who Gloria is, and that he would appreciate her, that she should be. Very, very precious. Most of all, I want to thank both of you, Robert and Gloria, for sharing yourselves the way you always have, because that's how this can happen. right now. You've been out there with yourselves, and you're an inspiration. You're an inspiration of commitment and devotion and of the love of life. But the reason why we can express what we want to express now is because you've shared it so fully, and you've created this kind of a place for us to be able to tell you. So, blessings, blessings. And thank you.
It's just so her, just to have that kind of curiosity to just keep finding out what's around her. And she also came into my life at a time where it was very difficult for me with losing my own mother. And she has just welcomed me into her heart and into her family. And then I found out she was with Robert, and got that in the package. And Robert's such an inspiration. I aspire, and I'm a bit more of a closet poet, but he keeps encouraging me. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the inspiration and the love and the joy you share in the world. Thank you.
And I'm a friend of Robert's and also of Gloria's. Gloria through Robert, who I met first. Actually, I knew Robert before I ever met him because I was writing a book about poetry in 1972. And the publisher wanted me to include an anthology of poems at the back of the book. And this was a great opportunity for me to pick the best poems in the world. And there was this fellow named Robert Sword who had a poem called Uncle Dog, the Poet at 9. And I put that in. It was just a wonderful poem. He still writes a lot about dogs. And Rosicrucians and podiatrists, but I know no one who writes so well about being a dog as does Robert. And so imagine my thrill a couple of decades later when I wanted to start a poetry group and was rejected from the first group to which I applied for membership. And so I decided, well, I'll have to start my own. But I didn't know that many people, but Robert Sword was in town. And so I approached Robert and I said, will you be my poetry group? and he and I started as a poetry group. Though he wasn't even writing poems then. He was working on this novel, this endless novel about his endless marriages. The Much Married Man. But it was such fun. It was such fun to be with Robert. And we traveled to give readings together once or twice. And that poetry group expanded, and some of the members are here now. And at Robert's instigation, we put together a book called Family, in which the poets in the poetry group were represented. And I increasingly appreciate Robert. He has a gentleness about him which is uncommon, truly uncommon in men. And that's important to me because I aspire to be more like him. Let me put it that way. And then through Robert, to know Gloria is really a treat. When we have our poetry group meetings, at most of the homes, the rest of the family disappears discreetly. But when we come to do a poetry group meeting here, Gloria sits right there, and she won't be quiet either. and so she offers comments on the poem, and it's really pretty nice. She is singular and admirable. And with apologies to Shakespeare, here's a little thing. You may recognize this is Portia in The Merchant of Venice. But the quality of matrimony is not strained. It droppeth like the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. 'Tis twice blessed. It blesseth him that marries and her that marries. 'Tis mightier than the mightiest. It becomes the painter and the poet, far better than a crown. There is no one under the sun like Gloria, combined with the sweet syllables and sense and nonsense of Robert. Thanks.
Well, I am son Matthew Lundell, and I know Robert and Gloria through originally the Poetry Society of Boulder Creek, because Allan and I used to go down there and videotape poets, and this brought us very close to a dear mutual friend named J.J. Webb, who has been very involved with Robert over the years. And through that lucky association, I got to meet Gloria and Robert and get a little more close to them and know more who they are and what they're about, even though Boulder Creek is a little bit of a far cry from, you know, Santa Cruz here. But I've been very touched in so many ways by these two artists, and I wasn't sure if I should stand up because I don't know why I'm feeling emotional, because I love this gathering and I love these people and I love the quality that they have given to my life, which they don't even know because we see very little of each other. But anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. Even today, yet another significant inspiration occurred when I was just hanging out with Gloria, and we had this funny moment a few weeks ago where she was in line at Trader Joe's and I was in line at Trader Joe's, and I said, "Oh, Gloria, hi, how are you?" You know, and I didn't want to lose my place in line, and you know, it was a little awkward to like go over and have a conversation right then, and you know, I didn't want to, you know, slow her down or anything. And so I just said, "Well, you know, I'll see you at your birthday party, you know, you know, don't worry about it." And so and then when I saw her today, I reminded her of that moment. She's like, "Oh yeah, I had a little moment." I was like, "Oh, who is that?" You know. And you know, I realized that when people are friends like us, where a lot of time goes by between the times that we connect.
It's always in context, and you see someone out of context and you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And I had to think about it. I did figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. And so I just thought I'd take a moment and reaffirm people with such rare awareness and openness to life are precious. And the impression that they create in people like me is, you know, it's very meaningful to me. And so I happened to be inspired just because Gloria took me for a few minutes and took me into show me her latest work, which I think is beautiful. I was inspired to write something about, you know, coming away from that moment. And so it's not exactly poetry, but you know, it'll do. I might have to read with my glasses. You know, this is kind of a first draft moment of inspiration for my friends. Inspired by Gloria, of a certain age, with love from Son. People get to be a certain age, and they begin to wonder, is there anyone who thinks of me? Will anyone remember me? Have I ever been important? Is there anyone who knows it? If I live another decade, will anyone or anything take note of it? And will anyone or anything take note? And what will it be that shows it? That was the attempt at poetry. In time, I'm going forward. In my mind, I'm going inward. In my art, I'm going all the way. But what is it that I'm going toward? A postcard from an ancient friend arrives amid 1,000 words from that huge world that's so fast-moving and so far-reaching and so full of all those famous people that have never known me yet.
Dried mango.
Like that. In my haste to find that perfect, ultimate satisfaction to my ambitions, to fill this world of woe with hope, and maybe even wisdom, I almost miss it. I almost missed it.
Thank you.
wonderful of you to get up and do that, say those things and make things. Oh my goodness, my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh. Thank you. Would you give me a copy? Oh, yeah, I thought you wanted this one, but I'll give you a nicer one if you want.
No, if I can read it, I'll keep it just like it is. Just put it in the book.
Okay.
Exhibit A. Hi, I'm Galen, and segue, Bruce, my husband and I, actually are lucky enough to know Gloria and Robert through Sun and Allan. And as far as I know, that's the only way we know them. We're not in fact related. But we have been embraced recently as part of your wonderful extended family. And as we've all said, again, thank you. Now, this humble offering is from our garden. And you see it is rich in symbolism. I figured as an artist and a poet, you could take it. You will note 2 felicitous fruits of the vine, equal in stature and in splendor, united by a cascade of tiny and precious treasures. Now, some among you may have noticed that some of these tiny treasures have started to turn to raisins. But unlike perhaps your expectations and even your previous experience of raisins, these raisins, I can tell you from personal experience, are the sweetest, plumpest, tenderest, juiciest, most delicious raisins one could ever imagine. Would you like to taste? Oh, you would rather have mango. To each his own. So, this just goes to show that if you live your lives kissed by the sun of creative expression, beauty, warmth, kindness, and above all, love, you will reap a harvest ever sweet, ever joyful, and ever juicy. To Robert and to Gloria, and as they say in Bulgaria, in that spirit, Nyo kaya lieto, Nyo kaya lieto, Nyo kaya lieto, which means, may you have many, may you have many, may you have many years.
It's just wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Would you like a raisin? And you. Oh my God, you have to go sit.
Turning 60, that's a little epigraph. The first 40 years of life give us the text. The next 30 supply the commentary on it. That's Schopenhauer. It's about 20 lines. So the first part is called Grammar as Hymnal, and I get the content. What the inspiration for the poem was turning 60, and I don't know about you, but I've always had trouble each decade, a little harder. 29 to 30 was pretty easy. 39 to 40 was not so bad. 49 to 50 was startling. 59 to 60 was, what the hell? This is 60. 60 is serious. And then turning 70 was it was very difficult. So where do you go if you're a writer and an English teacher for solace for making one of these decade changes? Seeking solace in a review of grammar, I turned to Strunk and White's Elements of Style. Standing at attention, opening to the section on usage, I chanted and sang, uniting my voice with the voices of others, the vast chorus of the lovers of English. We sing of verb tense, past, present, and future. We sing the harmony of simple tenses. We lift our voice in praise of action words and the function of verb tense. We sing of grammar, which is our compass, providing as it does clues as to how we might navigate the future. At the same time, it illuminates the past. As a teacher, I talk, that's present. For 30 years as a teacher, I talked, that's past. It may only be part-time, but I will talk, that's future. And the last 9 lines, called living the future perfect, that is in the future perfect tense. I will have invoked the muse. I will have remembered to give thanks, knowing our origins are in the invisible, and that we once possessed boundless energy but were formless, and that we are here to know the things of the heart through touching. I will have remembered too that there is only one thing we all possess equally, and that is our loneliness. I will have loved, you will have loved, we will have loved. Thank you so much.
It was way beyond our wildest expectations. We had no idea. And it's just getting you all together from different times in our lives, and it's just not even, it can't even be expressed. We'll remember this forever. Yeah. And ever and ever. And ever. And I'm looking forward to my 90th because you'll come. And I'll be here and you'll be here. I will be. I will be.
You know what? I really nice. Say to me,
Because his neurological circles and tracks and stuff, and then we got you. It's funny, did